Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PhD Nursing and Healthcare Leadership Degree Program information session here at the Betty Irene School of Nursing. My name is Stephanie, and I work with the admissions team here at the School of Nursing. Again, I just want to thank you all for joining us and taking the time out of your busy schedules to learn more about our program. We have a great jam-packed agenda today. We'll be doing some introductions to start off and then going into an overview of our school and why you might want to pursue the PhD program with us. You will hear from our program director, and she will be here for the first half of the information session. So we're going to break up the session a little bit different today. If you do have any questions about the program specifically, after she is done with her presentation, you are more than welcome to ask, and we'll do like a little mini Q&A session. Then after that, we'll dive into the admissions requirements and applying, as well as funding and all of that good information. And then if you have any questions about those topics, we can go ahead and address those at the end. Before I do hand it off to Dr. Katz, so that she can introduce herself, I just wanted to mention we also have Catherine Leva here, who is our manager of admissions here at the School of Nursing. She'll talk to you all a little bit more towards the end of the session. And then later on, we will hear from Jasmine Quiller regarding some funding opportunities. But I'll go ahead and pass it over to Dr. Katz.
Oh, thank you so much. Shall we switch to the next slide? All right. So I'm Cheryl Katz. I've been the director of the PhD program, the School of Nursing at UC Davis for a couple of years. And it's my pleasure to tell you a little bit about the program. One of the things that's helpful when you're deciding, which PhD program you're interested in, or whether a PhD program is for you at this point in your life, is to think about a few things, like what is the benefit of the program, and what kind of opportunities are there for you that kind of fit with your career goals. So one of the things that you'll see as you look at our website for the program is that we're very focused on conducting transformative research. It's important to us to educate health professionals and researchers in ways that affect system change, that influence policy, and to really look at things from the perspective of different settings in terms of advancing health, sort of across the board. We make sure that all of the students in our program have access to advanced methods courses and electives that are what we call cognates, that are really tailored to their particular interests. So, if you choose to do research on a particular topic, you can take elective courses anywhere at UC Davis main campus or Sacramento campus that are relevant to your particular interest, in addition to our core courses. There are the sorts of research opportunities that one would expect at a Research One university. We have experienced faculty members who have all sorts of interests, and hopefully you've had a chance to look through the list of potential mentors who are available for the coming year on our website to see all of the topics that people are conducting research in, where you might be able to link up with existing research programs, or get the expertise of folks who are working in the field. The School of Nursing PhD program has foundation funding from the Gordon and Betty Moore Family Foundation that allows us to give direct support to students for their dissertation and for professional activities like traveling to present at conferences and things like that. Early on, students can access like a small pot of money, $1,000 or so, for training purposes or for equipment needs or things like that as they prepare for their dissertation. And then after they've passed their qualifying exam and are admitted to doctoral candidacy, students are eligible to apply for $5,000 of funding from the foundation funds to support their dissertation activities. So students use that, to pay research participants or to buy equipment or for travel expenses associated with collecting their data and things like that. And so that's a really nice feature of the resources that we have to support student research. And of course, many students apply for external grants to fund their dissertations as well, for larger pots of money. And then we also have a number of scholarships available. For example, we have one in rural nursing that, if that's appropriate to your topic, that we can award to students. So we also have a really excellent research administration team that helps with that sort of support. Next slide. Thank you. So some of the unique opportunities at UC Davis, we have everything from a really excellent Central Valley tour that takes a couple days on a bus with faculty, students, administrators from UC Davis, visiting a number of community partners and really looking at historical sites and really getting a better understanding of all of the diverse places that we serve at UC Davis. I've had a number of students and even our dean, go on the bus tour and think it was a really valuable experience. The kinds of research centers that we have, everything from health policy centers to clinical and translational science center. We have initiatives for healthy aging and digital world that's, across both campuses and really a big binding site for researchers doing digital health kinds of research. And, in-home technology type of research. We have the Family Caregiving Institute, which I'm sure some of you have read about, and the Perinatal Origins of Disparities Center. One of the things that you'll want to focus on probably at this point when you're applying for the program is the Reach Equity Predoctoral Fellowship Program. And you'll hear a little bit more about that at the end of the session today. But essentially, it's a federally funded predoctoral fellowship that students in their second year, so it's a 2-year program, but it's like the second and third year. And it involves really an excellent focus on health equity, community-based research. So it has a seminar series and mentors from all over UC Davis with expertise in that area, as well as funding for tuition and a stipend. It requires people to really truly be a full-time student, and because it limits the amount of outside work that you can do to just a little bit. But for all students, whether or not they decide to apply for the Reach Equity Predoctoral Fellowships, we do expect students to be engaged in full-time PhD program. Some students do work as well as doing that, but there's all the students at UC Davis in any PhD program are required to be enrolled in at least 12 units of coursework each quarter. So that's kind of how that works. Next slide. So you'll see, as you think about why to pursue a PhD degree at UC Davis, our program has an interdisciplinary focus, which makes it unique among many of the nursing PhD programs in the country. So you might have people in your cohort who are nurses and also some who are not nurses, who come from other fields. We've had folks from physical therapy, folks from social work, other allied PAs, other allied health professionals, really participate as students in the program, and certainly the faculty in our graduate group who can serve as mentors, and also our faculty who teach in the program itself. Many are nurses and many come from other fields. And so you'll be exposed in the program to all the strengths of different disciplines as applied to nursing science. So I think that's, in a world of team science, that's a really helpful exposure for our students early on. The focus on health equity, as I mentioned, with the T32 program, but also just the general way that the coursework focuses on how do we influence public health and healthcare systems. And I think, it's helpful to have both urban and rural expertise. As with any PhD program, you'll be learning how to do innovative research and how to impact healthcare, health practices, and health outcomes by participating in groundbreaking research with faculty members and things that you initiate. We have like a one-on-one support system for faculty mentorship. We assign everybody to a graduate advisor to work with them closely right when they start school with us, and that person will either become your research mentor, or they will connect you as your interests evolve to other folks who may be the best fit for your dissertation work. But we try and give you personalized guidance from the very beginning. And we have a seminar series where you work with different faculty to support, going through all the milestones of a PhD, from coming up with ideas to proposing your research. As I mentioned earlier, we have access to a lot of different research opportunities and state-of-the-art research facilities. We have a world-class library, and pretty much all the resources that anyone could want to do research in nursing or other healthcare areas. Next slide. So as I mentioned earlier, it's a full-time program. Most people go through in as a 4-year program. It involves classes in the fall, winter, and spring. So no summer classes, but most students are really working hard on their dissertation and preparing for their dissertation over the summer to make progress on that. And we'll often collaborate with a faculty mentor in the summer to do that. Our core courses are typically offered on Thursdays and Fridays, and it's a mix of in-person and remote classes, but they're not, most of them are not remote, like asynchronous remote. You have to be there, in class, if it's on a Zoom meeting class, it will be synchronous in real time, interactive, students presenting to each other and having an active discussion on the readings and things like that. So, when you hear that it's some remote, know that it's not flexible in terms of time, but it is flexible in terms of how often you would need to come into campus. So we have students from all over the region, and we found it super helpful to have like a couple classes at the beginning of each quarter and usually the last class of each quarter to be in person. And then most of the classes in between are done by Zoom. I think there's one class we have that meets in an asynchronous way, except for like 3 occasions. And that one is shared with another program at the school. So that one's a little different. But for the most part, that's what the scheduling looks like. So keep that in mind as you're thinking, what's feasible for you with your work. Most of the classes, and you'll see this in a second when I show you a table, the first year is the most class heavy, and then in the second year there are additional core courses, but then you start taking more electives. So the first year is lots of core courses at these set times. So that's what you could plan for next year. The following year, there's fewer core courses, but then the opportunity to take electives or cognates, as I was talking about before, where those can be at different times. And some of the more of those are in-person classes, particularly if you decide to take classes on the Davis campus. And usually by year 3 and 4, students are mostly just working on their dissertation research rather than a lot of coursework, although some students choose to take additional electives, even if they're not required, because it's their opportunity to take courses that are paid for, that they might use those skills for the rest of their careers. So students vary on how much they want to avail themselves of that, but you could technically have 2 years of courses and then 2 years of not, if you choose that. Of course, the dissertation is pretty time intensive, so it frees up time to do that. So each of the PhD students that is accepted into our program receives a pretty generous financial support for tuition and fees, being covered for 4 years, a little bit for additional expenses in the first year. And that's a commitment that is fulfilled by us with foundation funding for all students, unless they get federal funding. And so the thing to know about that is, like, in the current research funding climate, a lot of other schools, their tuition support is contingent on federal funding, and it's hard to count on that for sure right now. But for us, our tuition support is guaranteed from a fellowship that is not federal. And so you can count on that if you get admitted that you would have that type of funding. We do also have, as I mentioned before, the 232 Reach Equity program, which is federally funded, and the students who participate in that, their tuition is covered by the federal funds. But if that were to evaporate, as it has at some other schools, programs, we still have a backup to pay for tuition. So I think that's one of the things that makes this program appealing in a time of kind of changing funding streams. So next slide. So this is a picture of what the coursework probably looks like in year 1 and 2. You can see, as I mentioned, it's more core course heavy in the first year, and then there's more room for electives in the second year. You'll see that there's a series that looks at philosophy of science, logic, scientific inference, theoretical and conceptual frameworks in nursing and healthcare. There's another sequence of courses that that goes through quantitative research methods, and a separate course sequence of 3 courses that goes through qualitative research methods. So no matter which of those 2 types of research methods you wind up choosing for your dissertation, we have a core sequence of research courses that will help prepare you for that. We also have some topical things, a leadership course, a course in health informatics, things like that. And throughout your whole time, both in these first 2 years and in the last 2 years, we have a course that meets online for your whole program as like a scaffolding for all of the things that you need to do to be an independent researcher. And so we have the seminar series on research and writing, and then on proposal development. And in the second 2 years, it's on dissertation activities in the seminar. So we help you kind of get ready to propose your research in the seminar, and then we help you implement it in the next seminar series. We can switch to the next slide. So, and this kind of shows that the dissertation seminar, and then the dissertation research writing that you do with your mentor, and then you can take electives for part of that time as well if you choose to. So hopefully that gives you a picture of what it looks like in terms of the kind of educational opportunities that you would have at UC Davis. Next slide. Okay. So this gets more into the admissions requirements, which I am not the designated person for. So I guess I should ask if there's any questions that you have for me before I run off to my next meeting. You can type any questions that you have for me or about the program in the Q&A if you have them. So I'll wait for a minute or two. Quiet group today. I can't really tell if any questions are in progress. Stephanie, is that?
Yeah, actually, one just came in.
I'd like to know how many students do you have currently for PhD? Our cohorts range between five and nine students, I guess. I think the biggest cohort had nine. Um, some of those have graduated already. So we typically have four, maybe four and a half cohorts. There's like, I think uh, one or two fifth year students who didn't quite finish at 4 years, and then all the other cohorts are 5 to 8. So I I'm haven't tallied up the exact number of students since some people just finished, but it's basically four-ish cohorts of that size in any given year, and it varies from year to year how many are in the cohort. Hopefully that answers your question. We try and have some classes that are just your cohort with a small group, so it's very individualized training. And then we try and have some other courses where there's opportunities to take a course or two with other cohorts, so you get to learn from them. And our seminar series, we all meet at the same time for our seminar series, so that we can at least once a quarter or more, everybody, all the students in the program get together for a colloquium during our seminar time. So it's like a big seminar for all the cohorts, and we do small group kinds of stuff so that students can learn from others' experiences and get to know students who are a little bit further ahead of them in the program. So, and that's always fun to attend, and I think that the students really enjoy that. Other questions? Yeah, so same five to 8, depending on um, who the group matching with available mentors and things like that. Yeah, so again, as I was saying, our our foundation funding that is our backstop for funding any students that aren't on federal grants for tuition allows us to keep a steady enrollment through this time, the same as we did before. Other questions? Well, great. I really want to thank all of you for your interest in the program, and I hope to see some of you next year. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you, Dr. Katz. So now we'll go ahead and move forward with our presentation. Um, Okay, so we're going to go ahead and shift gears a little bit and jump into our admissions requirements. All of this information is posted on our website, so I highly encourage you to visit the PhD admissions page and review it before for more specific details. But as far as requirements go, we're going to look for the following items. So you do have to have a bachelor's degree from an accredited institution, and we're going to look for a minimum GPA of a 3.0. In your application, you'll be submitting 3 letters of recommendation as well as filling out a statement of purpose, which goes into like your personal history, research, interest, and future goals and stuff like that. The application will also require an interview, but you'll have more instructions for that as you move forward in the admissions process. The GRE exam is not required. And for international students, we do highly encourage you to, again, visit the website to review the specific requirements for you. An English proficiency exam may be required, but again, more details are posted on our website that will give you more insight on if you need to take it. For prerequisites, Uh, the completion of a basic um, course in descriptive and inferential statistics is recommended. Please note that while this is not a requirement, it may impact or it will not impact your admissions decision, but it is just highly encouraged for your student success. Okay, so how to apply? Um, As far as the application goes, the application for 2026 enrollment is now open. And if you look off to the right-hand side of the slide, you'll see a timeline that helps visualize the admissions process and includes important dates. So I highly encourage that all applicants review the information and kind of use it to plan ahead and help you prepare for submitting your application. Additionally, on our website, we have a wonderful resource, which is called our How to Apply Guide. And this will give you a detailed step-by-step on how to submit your application. It'll explain information that needs to be added in certain sections. And again, it's just a guide to assist you in applying. So I usually recommend reviewing the guide before you even begin your application, and then maybe have it open side by side as you're going through and filling out the application so that you can ensure that you're not missing any information or that you don't forget to submit something or fill something out. With that being said, I also encourage you to fill everything out. Don't leave anything blank. If something is being asked, it's because we want to know the answer to it. Please also make sure to review the available mentors list so that you can start to think of who you may want to work with if you are admitted into the PhD program. And as far as important dates, our application deadline is going to be January 5th, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please don't wait till the last minute to submit your application, especially because if you do run into any technical issues, there won't be someone available to assist you if you're submitting your application, close to midnight. Um, You'll be submitting your application via the UC Davis Graduate Studies website. From there, our team will begin reviewing applications after the deadline. And if your application is chosen to move forward by the admissions committee, we will reach out to you to schedule an interview probably around mid-February, early March. And then decisions will be sent out at the end um, of March when and classes begin in September. Okay, so before I pass it over to my colleague Jasmine, I'm actually going to pass it over to Catherine Leva just to see if she wants to add anything.
Yes, thank you. Hi again, everyone. Thanks to Stephanie. So just a few things that I want to reiterate that as Stephanie's kind of already touched, she has touched based on this, but I really want to just stress the importance of it. And I put them in the chat as well. So the How to Apply Guide is an in-depth PDF document that's updated every year. So whether you are a reapplicant or someone new applying, please take a look at this how to apply guide. Again, it's very intricate, but for good reason. It literally will take you through the UC Davis Graduate Studies application by section, because we want to make your life as easy as possible when it comes to filling out this application. A couple things that I want to stress about the how to apply guide is, again, the importance of reviewing it is not only to help you navigate from start to finish, but we actually have School of Nursing specific essay prompts that we would like you to answer in addition to what graduate studies is asking in the application. So, and that's only on the how to apply guide. We weren't able to actually add it in the actual application. So again, if you want to put your best foot forward, please make sure you look at all the information within that guide. The other thing I want to mention is the available mentor list that both Stephanie and Dr. Katz mentioned. So this is new for this cycle, and we hope to have it, for the coming cycles. But again, if you're looking at research interests and maybe people who you want to work with, we want to make sure that you are working with someone who is available. And so I did put that in the chat as well, that link. It will link you to the academics page. So just please scroll down all the way to the bottom and please look at that available mentor list. If you have any questions about availability, just, please email us at admissions. I did put that in the chat as well, and we're more than happy. So just a few resources to help you out, but are also vital in regards to, submitting your application. The other thing that I will do when I hand it over to my colleague Jasmine is I'm going to put the PhD application workshop recording in the chat as well. So we had the PhD application workshop that goes over more of some of the resources that I mentioned, but you will actually see me taking you through the actual application. So if you're a visual person like I am, this might be a great help to you as well. So I will put that in the chat. I don't think there's anything else that I'm leaving out. Again, priority applications are due January 5th, so I know this is the time to start reviewing the application if you haven't already and get that in. Make it a New Year's resolution. I'm going to apply to the PhD program, and you can cross it off your list by the priority deadline. So again, please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. We do offer one-on-one appointments. Again, that email that I put in for our admissions team, me and Stephanie are the ones to really look at those. So you will most likely be hearing from one of us. So I think I hit everything. Just double checking with you, Stephanie. Anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Cool. Then Jasmine, you can take it away and talk about the T32. I can also go over, we'll start at the bottom, actually. So Jasmine can go over the T32 and I can touch base on kind of what Dr. Katz already mentioned about tuition and things like that. So go ahead, Jasmine.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Stephanie. So, hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine Cuellar. I am the program coordinator for our REACH T32 predoctoral training program at the School of Nursing. I'm going to put a few links in the chat as resources. So, with some general information about the program, but I'll go over some of this with you right now as well. So this first link is just kind of our general information web page or website. So that will bring you to kind of our landing page with kind of the basic information. And then I also have a PowerPoint presentation PDF version. So you can use these two resources here to learn a little more. But to give a little bit of an overview, the T32, the REACH T32 is a full-time predoctoral training program. So it's 2 years, which would begin in the fall quarter as you start your second year in the School of Nursing PhD program. Um, so it wouldn't start until that second year, and then it's 2 years or 24 months of this specific training program. The objective of the REACH T32 is to advance training for PhD students in health equity research. And our goals for this program are to increase the pipeline of researchers who can apply rigorous, multi-level, and equity-centered methods to optimize health outcomes, especially within historically and presently marginalized communities. We do offer additional mentorship as part of the program, so scholars are matched to a primary mentorship team, including one experienced mentor and one mentor in training. And through this program, we do offer financial assistance. So scholars within the REACH 232 receive a graduate student stipend, full cost of student health insurance, childcare costs, and an annual travel stipend. And these funds for financial assistance will depend on each student's preference. For example, if you do not need childcare, then those additional funds could go towards something like your annual travel stipend for attending things like conferences, academic conferences. And then there is also additional coursework as part of the program. So we do have a health equity certificate that you'll complete as part of the program. So those are some additional courses that will be focused specifically on health equity. And you can find more information about all of the program activities and kind of the different additional pieces that will be required of the program in that presentation PowerPoint slide. There's a good breakdown there of kind of what those activities include. And then I also wanted to touch base on our application period for the program. So we do have a separate application period for the Reach T32 program, and it runs from October to December. And so our applications are due the 17th of December. And I know this is before the School of Nursing's PhD program application deadline, but if you are unable to submit for the December deadline, you can always apply for the Reach T32 once you are in the School of Nursing PhD program. But if you do apply for the REACH program now, and you are invited for an interview for the PhD program, we will notify you if you are selected for the REACH program at the same time you're notified if you're selected for the PhD program. Hopefully that makes sense, but please feel free to leave questions for me. I'm going to add my information to the chat as well as our link for the Reach T32 application. Um, there is also, because it's a full-time program within the School of Nursing PhD program, students are limited to 10 hours per week of work above and beyond the fellowship. And then we are also funded through the National Institutes of Health, which means we are unable to accept international students at this time as well. But let me put some of that additional information in the chat, and then I can take questions if anyone has any questions. And I'll leave my contact information as well.
Jasmine, I'm going to go over just a few more pieces of this. And again, if anyone has any questions about T32, now is the time. And again, Jasmine was so kind to leave her email. So I'm actually going to put this in the chat. So again, if you have access to the chat, there's a lot of information in there for you. And if you're listening to the recording, again, just know that these resources are available on our website. So the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation Fund, Dr. Katz briefly went over this in her part of the information session, but it's another financial package sort of thing that's offered to our incoming PhD students. What happens when people get admitted is that they get a funding letter, and it will outline kind of what how much support you're given, how much is covered. Again, I know Jasmine will have her own process if you qualify and are awarded the T32. So just know that when it comes to the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation Fund, is that it can cover parts of tuition. It also applies for travel to conference presentations, research-related expenses, dissertation assistance. Also, I believe for our incoming students, they are given kind of like a startup, a little bit of startup funding as well. So again, more information is provided on our website. And if you would like to know more about tuition and things like that, that's also on the link that I provided. The other thing that I want to mention regarding financials is that here at the School of Nursing, regardless of what your program in, but we'll use PhD as an example, is that we provide everyone a School of Nursing funding support. So again, this will be outlined in your funding letter should you be admitted, but we at the School of Nursing provide our students with a small percentage of financial support in addition to whatever else you may receive. So it's just something that I like to point out. I think we can move on. Go ahead, Stephanie.
All righty. So thank you both, Catherine and Jasmine, for the information. Like Jasmine mentioned, definitely please make sure to reach out to her if you do have any questions regarding the REACH T32 funding. So we are at the end of our session. If you have questions for any of the admissions related information that we went over, please feel free to add them into the Q&A feature now. But a few reminders, again, the application deadline for priority review is going to be January 5th. And then from there, January 6th through May 1st will be space available review. However, I highly encourage you to submit your application by that priority application deadline if you do want to ensure that your application is reviewed. If after today's information session you think of more questions that you want to ask our admissions team, please feel free to take note of the email that is posted on the screen. We are happy to schedule a one-on-one appointment if you do have any questions or if you just want to email in. We are also here to assist. Um, Other resources, please, again, as Catherine mentioned, make sure to review everything that was added in the chat and visit our website to get more information. Look at that how to apply document and all of the other resources that are posted there. But again, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to add them to the Q&A.
I think someone has their hand raised. Harriet, we're using the Q&A feature. That's kind of like the chat. If you can put your question in there, that would be great.
And if anyone doesn't have any questions, you are more than welcome to log off and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you everyone for joining.
Great. States closed for December holidays. I'm not sure if you're asking if we're closed for December. So our office, student affairs, because that's where admissions is housed. Our office is closed, I believe, from Christmas Eve to the end of the year. But what that means is that emails will be delayed in response. So if you still have a question over that time, please send us an email because at least someone from admissions will be monitoring our inbox. But we will get the traditional holidays off. So Christmas Eve, Christmas, we definitely will not be responding, and then New Year's Day. But again, if you're sending questions around that time, you will get a response. It just may be delayed. So I hope that answers your question.
If you do have any questions, please feel free to add them into the Q&A feature. And if not, then please take note of that email. Send us an email if you want to reach out. And you are welcome to log off and enjoy the rest of your day.